So, on the Main, not quite sure how you pronounce it. We got off the Danube. We're now cruising. This is from my balcony here. Nice sunset, little cruise. Had a nice dinner. Air conditioning is fixed. Everything is going well. We got past the low water point, past the hitting of the. It was actually the railing. When we go through a low pass or a high water pass where we have a little clearance, they have to lower the railing, and I guess somebody didn't get it quite lowered all the way they should have, and we hit it. But apparently that is not an uncommon adventure. But anyway, you know those little films where you sit there and they're just nice and serene, other than hearing me talk. They're just nice and serene, and they show a beautiful setting in the evening, and having a glass of wine, watching the banks go by and waving to various people is just kind of a lot of fun. So air conditioning is fixed. Everything's going smoothly so far. And the Viking vacation from hell is now starting to, I would say, calm down and get just a little better. The crew has always been great. The crew has been great. It's been a lot of fun. The people are wonderful. They take great care of us. It was just the events with the air conditioning and things like that. And we've actually lost a few people. A friend of ours got hurt when her collarbone got broken by some inebriated, easy for me to say, dancer that fell into her. That wasn't so good, but fell into her, and then she broke her collarbone, and so she left us a while ago. Went back to Frankfurt. They were great people. We were having a lot of fun with them, and a few other people just got fed up with the lack of air conditioning. That, and I guess they bailed. People in the stateroom next to us, a group of Chinese people, are gone. So it's kind of interesting. But anyway, just having a super pleasant cruise finally. Had a nice day in Bamberg, and now we're going to another German city, Würzburg, I think. I gotta look that up. But along the river here, on our way eventually to Amsterdam. And here we are coming by another ship that appears to be docked for the night. And the waters are just so calm and peaceful. The sun's about to set. Just a nice evening. We had a very nice dinner, a little bit of wine, and just having a nice cruise. All right, if this is Monday, this must be Würzburg. And we got all the people amassing for the tours. Now, Viking cruise from Purgatory. Okay, it's getting better. It's getting better. But we still got a few people who have issues with the air conditioning units. They're working now, which is great. They're working, and that's great. But unfortunately, some of them are leaking, and they squish on the carpet. So it's getting better. It's getting better. Of course, we're getting towards the end of the whole thing, so hopefully it'll get better. But here we are. I guess if you were a prince bishop in the day, you had it pretty good. Yeah, I know, a little noisy. Anyway, here is Würzburg. All right. I thought that the bishops of our day had, pretty opulent mansions, they called them. But this kind of beats that a little bit. I guess when you were a prince bishop, it was kind of cool back then. All right, that's the Prince Bishop up there. This little guy in the center here, up on the throne. I can tell I miss my calling in life. Prince. Prince Bishop. You know, not like the musician formerly known as. No, he's a Prince Bishop. And yeah, I miss my calling in life. I should have put in for that job. They got to live in pretty nice houses, I'll tell you. Yeah. Okay, it's really not that far up. You just go up the staircase to the first floor. We're just on the first floor, so it's not very far to go up. Not at all. Well, back in Würzburg for the afternoon, and the temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, which is 98.6 Fahrenheit, which is normal body temperature, so that should be just fine, right? Here's one of the Cleopatra needles. I don't know if that's one of the historic ones that came from Egypt. It very well could be. I have to look that up. But anyway, okay, here we are back in Würzburg. Now, just had lunch on the ship, take the bus back in, and talking to a few people. It's interesting, you know, I mentioned we've gone from the trip, the Viking trip from hell to the Viking trip from Purgatory, so it's gotten better. But I found out that the boat we got rid of, the Scotty, that they actually still, days later, have not gotten that air conditioner fixed, and they need a big crane, and I guess it's not common to find a big crane easily accessible to where they dock, so those people still don't have air conditioning. And like I said, we are kind of, we've got people that are in the cabin because they're sick. We've got people that really got upset with the Scotty air conditioner, and they just bailed. I mean, some people were almost talking about mutiny. They were so upset. I mean, they were angry. And so that's kind of interesting. You know, I mentioned the air conditioner leak. That was kind of a minor thing, but our air conditioning is working fine. The tour is going good. We're stopping at all these little cities here. So other than people kind of getting sick, several of them, in fact, that I found out at lunch, I was very surprised. A lot of the people we made friends with are sick. So I don't know if it's something on the boat or something going on. I have no idea. But there are people who aren't too happy and aren't feeling well. But we're still hanging in there and going to see a few sites. There's a pilgrimage site I need to see, and the Röntgen site I need, Röntgen Museum. Because being a, you know, almost nuclear physicist, I chickened out, became an electrical engineer. But I got to see where Röntgen here in Würzburg invented, developed, discovered the X-ray tube. Because I started out, my first science fair project was a discharge tube. As a 14-year-old, 15,000 volt, then I went and I built an X-ray tube, again 15,000 volts. Now, those of you who know about X-ray tubes are going, you probably didn't get much of anything, and I really didn't, because you got to have about 90,000 volts to get good, strong X-rays. So I'm not sure I was getting much in the X-rays, but it was a science fair project. What are you going to do? All right, stay tuned. All right, so this is the crypt of the Three Saints. I saw that statue over there. It kind of scared me. I thought it was a guy standing over there. This is the crypt of the Three Saints. And they were martyred because I guess they had a little political difference with a woman getting out of a marriage, something like that. I forget the exact story, but they found the bodies hidden in a stable, I guess, the skeletons, and they are the martyrs of Würzburg. And the deal is, if you make a pilgrimage, and here I am, I've pilgrimaged over. If you make a pilgrimage and you stand before the relics, all your sins will be forgiven. And okay, I may be here for a while. This could take a while. I'm not sure. The nun said I was going to go to hell, so this could be a while. Well, finally got into the Röntgen Museum. The sign said it had already closed at 2:30, and we're after that about 3. But found a back door in, and a professor who took us and showed it here. So here is Röntgen's laboratory. And it's kind of interesting. I made like I think I said, a X-ray tube when I was 15, discharge tube 14, meson detector 16, 17 I was building my positive ion accelerator, 500,000 volts. But this is kind of interesting here. There's a Wimhurst machine there. That was kind of a British invention, I guess. And you see the transformers here. That's a transformer for generating the high voltage. And that looks like that's probably the X-ray tube there, the original one. Now, it's also kind of interesting, recreation of his laboratory. They probably put everything in here. That looks like it was probably a mercury manometer that they used to measure vacuum. And that, I'm guessing, might have been a primitive early vacuum pump, but don't really know for sure, so I'm doing a little bit of guessing. Oh, these are the more conventional, later developed X-ray tubes, that one and this guy down here, used by some early dentist's office, and he's got just a number of transformers here for generating high voltage. And like I said, I used an old neon sign transformer, only puts out 15,000 volts. I tried, various ways of doubling it, didn't quite work out, so I was stuck at 15,000 volts, and you really don't get X-rays hardly at 15,000 volts unless somebody knows better than I do, because it didn't really detect much of anything. You need really 90,000 to start really generating the X-rays, but here's where it all started, and I was only, 100 years late, but be that as it may, it's kind of cool to see the original apparatus. And it was quite a journey getting here. Oh, and it's a little bit on the hot side, let me tell you. We're sweating like pigs. We continue to explore, and this is kind of the later development X-ray tube. You've got the cathode here, which produces basically the electrons, and then they hit against the target, this guy here, usually tungsten. It looks like it's a bit of an angle. And then they had a cathode, and then they had a plate there to accelerate. And it looks like they probably had a collimator here, and I would guess lay the patient there. Oh, probably an early photographic plate. And here is another X-ray tube, one of the early type of X-ray tubes. You can actually buy these on eBay, and I thought about buying one time. And some more. Looks like really hefty X-ray tubes. I thought about buying one time. They went for like $500. They're probably even more now, but a lot of, I guess, collectors like them. And here's another early X-ray tube. And there's some, it says start. And, yeah, it's showing. 1895. Yeah, I was just a little bit late. I'm not going to watch the whole thing here. Yeah, I think we're really lucky to get in here because it is closed, I think. And this is kind of interesting. The looks like a high voltage device here. I don't know if we can open it here. We're already intruding enough as it is. No, it doesn't seem to want to, but you see the electrodes on the top. One says cathode, and one says anti-cathode, which makes sense. That would be the plate. One thing interesting about when I was starting out in nuclear physics, my brief nuclear physics career, they measured radiation in Roentgens, and then now they measure it in millisieverns. And I don't know what Roentgen did to get displaced, and I don't know who this milli person is. But now they measure it in millisieverns, and I got a Geiger counter too. Now the thing is, you never want to be the second name on anything, because it's really a Geiger-Mueller counter, because Mueller helped develop it too. So they dropped the second guy, so it's a Geiger counter. So you always want to be the first name. And I guess you plug this thing into the wall here. I don't know, but anyway, I one time had a radiation detector. I took it on a flight, and it was like 0.8 millisieverns on the ground, and as we climbed up, it steadily increased to cruise altitude in the high 30s, and it was sitting there about 4 millisieverns, and it stayed there the entire flight until I started to descend, so it went down. So that's not too encouraging as far as radiation exposure. Um, you know, so yeah, we're all going to die of something. But anyway, um, that's that. Oh, a few other scientific apparatus out here. And the only other thing we have to do, since I think we got in here kind of after it was closed, all we have to do is figure out how to get out of here. So that's the next great adventure. But it wouldn't be the first time I was in a scientific laboratory when I maybe not wasn't supposed to be, if I put it that way, that I had to figure to get out. One time it was through a window, I remember. Anyway, that's the story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, we're going to have a wine blow. Wine. Yes, yes, it is. We're going to have a glass blowing demonstration here. The stuff is really beautiful. But, okay, the good part about the cruise is just the fantastic people we're meeting. I mean, it's really amazing. We've got like 185 passengers on board. The crew's great, but we have met so many interesting people. That's the real fun part of this cruise, is just the really cool people that we are meeting. It's a lot of fun. You don't see anybody here. That's why I'm kind of making this without putting them on the spot. They're up there looking at the glass blower thing, but it's just an amazing amount of people that we've met and just having a fun time talking to.